Hi, it's Augmented Teaching. I'm Todd.
And I'm Brandi.
And we are here going to talk about some subjects that we wanted to capture because we were in a situation where we were sitting around and we had a subject that came up. I'm like, we should put this to audio and record it so
Right.
that we can talk about it and explain it to our listeners what it's about. So I do rideshare, and today
Hmm.
I picked up a panhandler.
Okay.
A panhandler, right? And I took him back to his base of operation, which was a converted hotel,
Okay.
into an apartment. All right, and that's where he lived with him and his little dog. Right, lived there. And your question was
Well, you told me this whole backstory and everything
right,
of the type of environment that not only he was living in, but a lot of other people were living in,
mm-hmm.
and a lot of their dogs. And so we kind of were talking about the story of that type of person, and we've spoken about in so many of our other shows about how we pre-choose our experiences
Yes,
as a soul. We decide the choices that are going to help us for our soul development, right?
right.
And so, if we believe that, then my question to you was, why would a soul choose to incarnate into that type of life situation?
Mm-hmm. And when I explained it to you the first time, I explained that this soul had been very broken. He was very humble, uh, very not aggressive. It was like almost like a broken human inside, right?
Mm,
It wasn't aggressive towards anything or anybody, which is very passive and had very a lot of humbleness within that soul.
mm-hmm.
And and then you ask that question, and I explain that we choose our lives, our incarnations, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
We choose them to teach us where we need to be taught. Now, imagine this soul had been the CEO of a company, right, that found ways and to take advantage of others within the company,
Like
right?
in a previous lifetime,
Yeah, in a
or
previous lifetime,
okay.
yes. Or it was a situation to where that person was very wealthy and powerful and misused that wealth and power to develop itself, to bring itself to a higher level while pushing down so many others
Mm-hmm.
at the same time.
Yeah.
That soul may choose to come back where it is learning humility and humbleness at a very accelerated rate because of the situation that it's in.
Yeah.
So that's one aspect. A lot of times a soul will come here to learn humility and humbleness, and will go through chapters of hardness, very difficult physical situations to learn these things, because we're not here to be wealthy. We're here to develop our souls, to learn and to work the puzzle of unconditional love.
Mm-hmm.
And learning humility and humbleness is one of those steps. Now, there's another reason. Now, that may have been a soul that had, misused its power in the past and came here to learn humility and humbleness to develop itself.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's some very old souls that have already worked the puzzle of unconditional love and are very passive and compassionate people.
Mm.
And they come here
Because they're like enlightened.
they're enlightened, and they come here as markers. They know everything here is temporary. So an old soul may choose to come here as a test for all the people around it. I'm going to be humility. I'm going to treat everything with humility and humbleness, and I'm going to see how you treat me.
Mm.
And the souls around them will be like, I'm going to do the same for you, my friend, and I'll learn humility and humbleness with you, and I'll treat you with dignity and respect,
Mm-hmm.
and do what I can to help you in the situation that you're in. And then some souls will take advantage of that soul.
Right.
That is a marker soul. That is a soul that came here to teach us who we are.
Right. To develop the souls around
Right. And it's like a little test. I want to come here with not a mean bone in my body. I want to see how you react. Are you going to lift me up? Or are you going to try to crush me and dominate me?
Wow.
Because this soul was actually having an issue with other souls that were taking advantage of him.
Mm.
And I'm like, those souls are not passing their test.
Yeah.
And at that time, well, which was today, he had a dog.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't take dogs in my brand new car.
Right. Yeah, we've talked about that before.
Right. I have leather seats.
In case they scratch it or
right.
Yeah.
And he goes, I understand if you don't want to take my dog. He came with such humility and humbleness. And I was like,
yeah.
He goes, the dog will just sit on my lap. I'm like, okay.
And so you had a choice.
I had a choice. They're like, no. Or, you know what?
Trusting
Right. What God has put in front of me.
Exactly.
And I took him to his destination.
And that's how you found out.
And nothing happened. The dog sat in his lap, got out,
and everything was good.
I took him home.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why a soul may choose to have an incarnation where they are downtrodden, so to speak. So to learn to develop themselves or to test the people around them because they've already learned humility and humbleness.
Wow. I mean when you break it down like that, for one, it reminds me of so many times, my son and I will see people that are, living out on the streets and they need something. And if we have something to provide, some sort of resource, then, we offer that. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes my son and I would talk about how, that person may have been an angel, and it's not for us to judge who's who and what people come here for, what their mission is, what their purpose is.
Right.
What we can choose to know and remember and embody is that we are here for our purpose, our mission, our soul development, and we get to choose how we respond to what is shown in front of us, right?
Right. And sometimes we look at people on this side of the veil, and it's very easy to judge, who's doing well and who's not doing well, right? But in reality on the other side of the veil, realize the person that's driving the Ferrari is not doing well. And it's soul development.
Developmentally, right?
Right. And
materialistically,
and the soul that looks like it's doing horrible is actually doing extremely well, because on the side of the veil, there is no materialism, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing exists like that. So on the side of the veil, you're like, oh man, that person that was begging on the side of the side of the freeway, on the off ramp, was actually doing a killer job in developing its soul.
Yeah.
While the person driving the Ferrari, full of ego and materialism and gravitating towards all the deficiencies within the vessel, is not doing a great job.
Yeah.
And you see the heroes on the other side of the veil are not the heroes that we have here on this side of the veil on earth.
Well, and that's why we can't judge a book by its cover, because you never really know what's going on.
Exactly.
Because sometimes, like you said, we may, from a human perspective, judge a situation or a person as, this or that. But really, we have no idea what their purpose is, what their mission is, and what their soul development, where they're at in their soul development.
Right, exactly. Not every rich person is doing bad. Some are doing very well.
Yeah.
As far as developing their souls. Some souls that are very, that are downtrodden, on this side of the veil, are doing a good job. Some are not. Some are still not doing a good job, right? They're still stealing and harming others. But what we do as individuals is when whoever is put in front of us, we do our best to treat them with dignity and respect, and we've done our job for the day.
Right. And sometimes I do recognize that if people don't have that for themselves, they can't even give that to anybody else.
Right.
I've seen that out in the world,
Right.
And I think that that's why, for me, it's so important to love myself and love others as myself.
Right.
Because what is the saying? What you do unto others, you do really unto yourself.
Right.
And looking at that whole aspect of we are all one, we are all manifestations of God, then why wouldn't I want to help another person if I could in whatever ways that I could?
Right. I believe the Bible says, how you treat the least of these is how you treat me.
Wow, I never heard that.
Right.
Wait, say that again.
How you treat the least of these is how you treat me.
Wow.
I know a lot of Christians skip over that one, but yeah, it's important. So you can yell at them, get a job, or you can be like, you know what, that's in front of me, and I have a couple ones in my pocket. I'm going to give them to him. And that's one thing I kind of like, I was taking him to where he lived.
Yeah.
And I was like, the people were like, oh, he probably has tons of money. No, he was living in a converted hotel. So no, he didn't have tons of money. He's barely existing.
Oh, because some people have the stereotype that people who are panhandling
are making all this free money, and I have to work. And they're living a meager existence.
Why should I give them any money when I have to go to? Because that dollar is not going to hurt you.
And I was like, man, I wish I had, because all my cash tips I always give to help others.
Right.
Because it's fluid cash in my pocket.
Yeah, I usually try to keep some ones and
right.
stuff.
I didn't have any, and I was like, I didn't get any cash tips today, and I was a little bit like, dang, I wish I had some. I would have given it to him.
Well, you know what?
Because that's what's in front of me.
And it's all about the intent.
Right.
You know, you created a good vibration by your intent.
Right.
You know, and by your choices.
Yes.
And whatever anybody chooses to believe, it's all for the greatest good. You know,
right.
You did good today.
Every human being is a direct manifestation of God. The soul within them is a direct manifestation of God. So let's wrap this up.
Well, I'm really glad that you broke all that down. It was so beautiful. And I know that this is an audio recording, but if you could see my face during some of these moments, I had chills down my spine in so many different ways because it's just, that's my confirmation, that we're all doing the best that we can.
Yes.
And really, it all comes down to our choices and our intentions. So
always have love and laughter in your heart.
And keep moving forward.
Thank you. Bye-bye.